What's going on, y'all? I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fear podcast, the place where y'all come for motivation, inspiration, uplifting, and just a positive word. Today's episode is, man, you just gotta give people space to be them. That's the theme of today's episode. And I learned that, no matter what advice you give to people, or no matter how hard you try to be there for people, or whatever the case may be, people are going to be themselves. You know what I'm saying? They may take some of the advice that they want to hear or that they want to try, and they'll use it, and everything else they'll just kind of, it'll go in one ear and out the other. And sometimes it's all about who delivers the message, because somebody else could say the same thing that you said and it just resonates with them. But one thing that I had to do is just kind of, and I guess I used to do it in the past. I don't do it now, but it's just something that I wanted to talk about. And it was just, like I said, you just got to give people space to be themselves, because I used to get so frustrated, like when someone would come to me for advice, about something, and I would give them some advice, and they're saying to me while we're on the phone or we're talking face to face, they're saying, "Oh, that makes sense," and, "Oh, okay, yeah, I get that. That's you're right." Da, da, da. I'm saying, just saying all of this stuff, and then they just go and do the exact opposite, or somebody else will come and say the exact same thing that I said, and it's like, nah, it's like, yeah, they said this, and it's like it clicked with me, and I got it, and it was just like I used to get so annoyed and so frustrated about that, but now it's just kind of like my mindset is it doesn't matter how they get it, who they get it from, how many times it takes them to get it, as long as they get the lesson and as long as they do what they need to do. So now I just kind of give people that space to just be them. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to try to fix them, or not fix, because there might not be nothing wrong, but I don't try to change them. I don't try to change their behavior. I just kind of let them be them. I might let them know, hey, ain't no good gonna come from you acting like this or whatever. And I just let them be them, because that's one thing that I can say that my mom did. Like, even when um I was going through my past relationship, what I'm saying, she would give me advice. And again, it would make perfect sense, but I'm gonna just do, you know what I'm saying? And so at some point you realize people are gonna do what they want to do. Like, they might just be calling you not, and they might be asking for advice, but they just might need to vent. They might just need somebody to talk to. They might just need to get it out. You know what I'm saying? Say, just talk to somebody, tell somebody what's going on, and then, just go back to doing what they do. And so after going through it myself, you know what I'm saying, where I just wasn't listening, people giving me advice and I just wasn't listening, and really noticing that I was doing that, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously I've been doing it for years, but it finally clicked. My eyes finally opened, and I finally started to realize, okay, dang, I'm just like everybody else. I take people's advice. It makes so much sense, but I just go right back to doing what I want to do. So, and when I finally made that realization or that revelation about myself, it made me understand people, and it made me realize, okay, people are gonna be themselves, you know what I'm saying? Your friends are gonna be themselves, they're gonna be who they are, they're gonna be the person that they've been for years. So the only thing that you can kind of do is give the advice when they ask for it. Be there, for so they can vent through whatever they're going through, talk through whatever they're going through, and just be there for them and give them the space to do what they do. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you got to understand that, and I do get it, because sometimes giving them the space to be themselves, sometimes that means that you can't always be available. And I absolutely understand that. I used to think that, man, if you're a friend, you be there for them. But what I'm realizing now is you got to understand. Well, what I'm understanding now is that when people come and they vent to you, that can become heavy, especially if they're venting about the same things over and over again. I never really realized how heavy being there for people are, how much being there for people, how much weight that puts on your shoulders. And so, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you do have to take that mental break in you. So when I say give people, well, when I say I need to give people, my friends, the space to be themselves, what I'm saying is I'll talk to you. I'll listen to you. I'll let you vent. I'll give some words, you know what I'm saying? Especially if it's something that I've been through. I can tell you what helped me, what hurt me. You know what I'm saying? I can do all of that. But once I do that, I'm letting it go. I'm releasing it. I'm just because that at the end of the day, once we get off the phone, that's your problem. That's something that you have to go through. I can be there for you as much as I possibly can, but once we get off the phone, you have to go deal with that. I can't take on more stress than what I'm already doing about a situation that I have no control over. I literally can't change you. I literally can't tell you to stop doing this and then you stop. I can't make you do anything that you don't want to do. So I can't sit here and stress about the things that you got going on. So what I've learned is like I can be there, I can listen, but as soon as we get off that phone, I gotta let it go. And that was the problem that I was having. I wasn't letting it go. I was holding on to it. I was holding on to other people's stress, other people's drama, other people's situations. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't letting it go. So I had to learn how to let it go and just give them the space to be themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why I was getting so frustrated because it's like, man, you stressing me out. Like, why don't you just do what you know you need to do? And it's just kind of like, you know what? Instead of getting mad at them, getting frustrated with them, getting into arguments with them, adding more stress to them and then adding more stress to myself, just let it go. Once we get through with our conversation, everybody said what they had to say. I just let it go, you know what I'm saying? And I let them do what they gonna do, you know. Sometimes they do what they need to do. Other times, you know, they ain't learned their lesson yet. They gotta continue to bump their head. And that's what they gotta do, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I am learning about life from, you know, just these past couple of months is like people, we all learn at different paces. You know what I'm saying? Some people just need to bump their head one good time and then they done learned that lesson. Other people got to learn bump their head 6, 7, 8 times and then they learn the lesson. You know what I'm saying? So now I just kind of, again, if it's something that I know about, if it's a realm that I'm familiar with, then I give advice and then, you know, I kind of let them go. And, you know, if they got to continue to bump their head a few more times before they get it, hey, I let them bump their head. I don't get mad about them bumping their head because you know what I'm saying. It's a part of life. It's a part of the process. We can't rush the process. I know I said that in a episode before. You know what I'm saying. We can't cheat the process. We can't rush the process. And part of the process is going through that going through that pain to learn the lesson. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of learning the lesson is a part of the process. So however many times it takes my friends bumping their heads for them to get that lesson, I got to let them bump their heads. And since I made that realization, it's taken a lot of stress off of me because I just release it. You know what I'm saying? I release um, all of that they got going on because it's not my own personal issues. You know what I'm saying? It's just me being there to listen, me being there for them to vent to, you know what I'm saying, and to give advice again when it's something that I'm familiar with, or just give my opinion on it, whatever the case may be. And I don't mind playing that role and being that role. I just had to realize that I can't hold on to it. I have to let it go because when I hold on to it, then I'm trying to force you to learn the lesson before you're ready to learn the lesson. And that never ends well. So I just had to learn to just take a step back and let them do them, let them be them, let them learn the lessons at their pace, whatever that pace is. And yeah, sometimes it's hard because, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes those lessons come at a price, you know what I'm saying? And so sometimes you have to, unfortunately, you watch your friends go through a lot of stuff that cost them a lot, whether it be financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You just see them kind of go through the ringer with things. But at the end of the day, you got to let them go through it. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean that you don't continue to give advice. That don't mean you don't continue to say, you know what I'm saying, give the warnings and, give the, and just let them know, hey, man, you out here looking crazy, or man, your health ain't, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that you do, that's not saying you don't try to step in and help out. You definitely do. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? They gotta get to that, they gotta get to that destination on their own. They gotta get to that, they gotta get through that struggle, whatever it is that they're going through, they gotta get through it. They gotta get through it. They gotta make it to the other side, because you can know the answer all day, every day, and you can tell them the answer all day, every day. But until they're ready to put that answer into action, ain't nothing you can do. Like, you know what I'm saying? They can know the answer, but until they're ready to do it, ain't really nothing you can do. They're gonna keep going through it until they've had enough, and now they're ready to do what they need to do. They're ready to take action, because they may know what they need to do, but they might not have the courage, or it might not be a bad enough situation for them to leave or to make that move, whatever it is that they need to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, we got to get to the point to where we're completely uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying, before we do what we need to do. You got your people who just take that leap of faith, all on their own, nothing stopping them, like where they are, they're comfortable, they're good, but it's just like, nah, this is something I need to do. And they make that leap. And then you got other people who got to be pushed off the edge. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes you just got to sit there and wait on your friends to get to that point to where they're so uncomfortable, or they're so frustrated or whatever, that they finally make that move that they need to make. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only way it's really gonna stick. Because even if you try to force them to do something, even if you try to force them to leave somebody, or whatever the case may be, before they're ready to leave, only thing that you're doing is potentially putting a fracture between y'all friendship, and making them go right back to the person that you just went through all of this stuff, um to get them out of that relationship, and they're just gonna go right back. So it's kind of like you gotta let them do it at their own pace. And it's hard, you know what I'm saying, especially when you see how much they're hurting and you seeing how much they're struggling. But you gotta let them go through that, because that's what they need. You know what I'm saying? That's what they need to go through, unfortunately. And that's a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. And it's hard going through it. Sometimes it's hard seeing your friends go through it. But just for me personally, it beats the alternative, which is me stressing myself out over over their situations that I can't control, because I have nothing to do with it. It literally has nothing to do with me. I'm just listening. And I have a tendency to take on other people's burdens, and I had to learn how to let those things go. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously, when you're younger, well, I'm gonna just speak for me. When I was younger, I could take on people's burdens and it didn't bother me, or it didn't really affect me as much. But now that I'm getting older, you know what I'm saying, that stress is just mounting up, and it's just doing more and more to my body. And so I had to realize I gotta let that go. I gotta let other people's stress go. I got enough stuff going on in my life that I'm trying to work through, um that I'm trying to get myself out of. I've dug enough holes for myself. And so I'm a lot of stuff that I'm trying to work through, and things like that, that I can't afford to hold on to other people's negativity, other people's stress, other people's situations and their emotions. I just can't. I can be there for you. I can listen. I can give my thoughts on things, but I can't hold on to it. So once we get off that phone, I let it go. And it's not an easy thing for me to do. It's not always an easy thing for me to do. And it wasn't an easy thing for me to start doing, but it was something that I had to start doing. And I also just have to give myself mental breaks sometimes, because sometimes I just can't be on the phone, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially if I know that you're coming with the drama and you know what I'm saying, and all that stuff. There are times when I just gotta take a step back and be like, you know what, let me check my temperature. Let me see if I can handle this. And if I'm at a point where I can't, I don't have it to give, I don't have no space emotionally to handle what you got going on. Hey, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta listen to that. I gotta listen to that little voice in my head saying, you know what, right now ain't the time. Right now ain't, you know what I'm saying? Right now ain't the best time. Right now ain't, we really can't deal with this right now. We really don't have the emotional capacity to go through this. And I just have to, you know, just check my own temperature sometimes, you know, before investing time into situations and into things, you know, and that's normal. Everybody kind of go through that, but that's why I say that's what the revelation that I've had is just, you know, you got to learn how to give people their space and understand that you don't have to just you don't have to take on their burdens of what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? This is what they're going through, so let them go through it. I don't mean that you don't be there for them, but what it means is, especially if you're like me, and when you hear people's stories, you can also at times take on those burdens, especially if it's something that they've been going through and they've been calling you for months about the same thing. It's like that starts to build up, and now you've built up all of this stress about something that don't have anything to do with you. You know what I'm saying? You don't know these people that's in this situation. You just know your friend. You don't know these other people in these situations. Ain't nothing you can do about the situation because all parties are miles away from you. But yet you sitting here stressing and losing sleep about it. And you got to realize, like, you know what I'm saying? You got to put your health first. Because if you don't take care of yourself, if you're not good, then you can't help anybody. You can't do nothing. You can't do anything for anyone, you know. So you got to make sure that you're putting yourself first in those types of situations. You got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself because you got to pour into yourself before you can pour into anybody else. And that was like one of the things that I had to realize is that, you know, there's nothing wrong with being there for your friends, but you don't have to hold on to those emotions that they're going through. You don't have to hold on to that stress that they're feeling. You know what I'm saying? You can let it go. Like once you get off the phone, you can release that, you know what I'm saying, and get back to whatever you're going through. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I just need a break. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. We've been rocking. I've been here through all of these scenarios and through all these situations. But today I just need space. You know what I'm saying? Today I just need some time for me. You know what I'm saying? I need a mental day, you know, a day for just, you know what I'm saying, just for yourself, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I had to realize that was one of the things that I had to realize is that it's okay to need a day. It's okay to need some time to yourself. It's okay to just need your space. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that in a friendship, in a relationship, and whatever. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. You just got to make sure that you communicate those things. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that you're communicating, you know, that you need that space, that you need some time, that you're going through some things, and you know what I'm saying, you just don't have room for it right now. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but definitely make sure that you're communicating those things. And that's what I'm working on. That's the part where I am, because I understand and I realize now that it is a-okay for me to need some space and to need some time. Now I got to work on making sure that I communicate to people that I need some me time, that I need to recoup mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is. I need time just to pour back into me. And so that's where I am now, is learning how to communicate that to people, because there's still that part of me that feels like, oh, you're not being a good friend because you're not being there. There's still that part of me that's like, oh man, you're ducking out on them when they need you most. But it's just like I have to also remind myself, like, man, you've been there so many times. You know what I'm saying? It don't even matter the time of day. It don't matter if I'm at work or not. I've been there. You've been there. You've been there so many times. There's nothing wrong with taking some time every now and then just to, you know what I'm saying, recharge your battery. And if they're your real friend, they'll understand that. They'll understand, like, yeah, bro been there for me. DJ been there for me. DJ pick up that phone. Whoop whoop. Man, I can give him he need if he need time to charge his battery up, let him take that time to recharge his battery. And for real, you the real ones, your real friends understand that. And so, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you got to take that time, man. Take that time for yourself and take that time for them, because you can't be on them constantly like, hey, you need to be doing this. Hey, you need to be doing this. And then when they not doing it, now you frustrated and now you mad and you don't want to really just like, bro, what's the point of continuing to talk about this if you're not doing what you need to be doing? So, you know what I'm saying? So that space is needed for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how frustrating it can be when I can understand both sides, right? I can understand the side of the person who's giving the vibe, who's listening to the situation, understand the situation, because you don't have a dog in the race one way or the other. You just looking at it from a impartial, non-biased perspective, and you can come to a conclusion based off of, at least based off the information that you've been given. Because mind you, you're not getting both sides. You're only getting your friend's side. But if your friend is being completely honest about the good and the bad, the rights and the wrongs, you can come to a conclusion, right? Tell them the conclusion that you've come to, and they could come to the same conclusion. No one needs to be done, and just not be ready to pull the trigger and do what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? So I've been on that side where I understand what's going on. I understand the situation. We know what's going on. We know what needs to happen. Go ahead and pull the trigger, right? I've been on that side, but I've also been on the side where I'm in the middle of it, and I know it needs to be done. I know this action needs to be taken, but I hear my friends telling me, and I hear my family telling me, do this. It needs to be done. This is the answer. This is the way. And I know that that's the truth. And I still go and do what I want to do, because I wasn't ready to make that decision. I wasn't ready to, you know what I'm saying, make that choice that needed to be made. So I've been on both sides. So for me, especially now, because like I said, with me not trying to deal with other people's stress, me trying to find peace, me trying to work on my peace, me trying to work on my happiness, me trying to work on me. Um, I'm not I'm trying to provide less space for other people's stress and other people's drama. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm learning to let go when I get off the phone, or when we through that conversation. I'm learning to let go, and you know what I'm saying, and just hope for the best, and hope, you know what I'm saying, and understanding that, you got to go through, everybody has to go through their lessons, everybody has to go through their tough times, everybody has to bump their heads however many times they need to bump their heads until they get their lesson. I understand now that it's a part of life. We want to, especially like with your kids, you want to protect them, and you want to make sure that they don't experience those things, that they never bump their heads. But that's unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? We're all curious, you know what I'm saying? We all want to know. We all want to touch that shiny thing. We all want to, know what this is. How does this work? What does this do? You know what I'm saying? So it's just that curiosity in us, that whatever it is in us that wants to explore, wants to try new things, wants to see if this is going to work, wants to see if that's going to work. That's going to always put us in these situations where we're going to have to learn lessons. And the only way you learn those lessons is if you bump your head, and if you got to go through things. You got to realize that, okay, this ain't good for me. And the only way you realize, and sometimes the only way you realize things aren't good for you, is that you gotta go through them. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta realize that that man or that woman ain't good for you. You gotta go through it. You gotta go through that tough relationship to realize, okay, that person ain't for me, or a person who thinks like this, I don't match well with. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go through these things. You gotta bump your head a few times to learn a few lessons. And so, now that I'm starting to realize that, I'm okay with my friends bumping their heads. You know what I'm saying? At first, you know what I'm saying, it was just like you trying your hardest to make sure that they don't bump their heads and that they don't go through those tough times, because you don't want to see your friends crying and you don't want to see your friends hurting. But at the same time, now I realize that that's just a part of life, and they got to go through that. You know what I'm saying? Especially now we're all adults, we're all grown. You got to go through it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I know you're going to make whatever decision you want to make. So, and that's fine. You're supposed to. I'm not telling you that you're wrong for making the decision. What I'm saying is you got to accept the consequences, the repercussions, the whatever that comes with making that decision. So if you make this a decision to whatever it is, that relationship, that job, that business choice, whatever it is, you got to deal with those out. You got to deal with the outcome, whether the outcome is positive or negative. That's what you got to deal with. So I've learned to just be okay with letting my friends bump their heads. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to bump mine, and trust and believe I bump mine. You know what I'm saying? My head has gotten very hard from all the things that I've been bumping into, but I'm at a point now where I'm learning my lessons. You know what I'm saying? And so there are days when I do wish I would have listened a little more, or taken heed of people's words a little more, or taken things more to heart. But at the same time, I'm also like, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. And I'm here at this point, at this time, for a reason. What that reason is, who knows? Maybe I'll never know, but you know what I'm saying? I know that there is one. And I went through everything that I went through for a reason, and my life lined up the way it lined it up. The way it lined up for a reason. I don't know why we'd be asking them extra EDs in there, but I know it lined up the way it did for a reason, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, I'm just finding, and that's what I'm saying, and that's what I mean when I say what, like, where I am right now in life is just, for me, it's all about finding my purpose, finding my reasons for, moving forward, pushing forward, keeping moving. And as I'm finding those things, I'm finding pieces of happiness. You know what I'm saying? I'm finding pieces of peace. And so for me, that's more so what I'm looking for. And those are the things that I'm cherishing and I'm holding, and I'm appreciating family more. I'm appreciating good friends more. You know what I'm saying? So I'm understanding now it's not always about quantity. Well, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So I'll take that 1, 2, 3, 4 good friends over 60 people being around smiling in my face. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take those things. It's making me appreciate the little things, the small things that I take for granted. You know what I'm saying? When I say that, I mean just the little things, bro, like a good morning text, a text, how you doing? Um, you know, just random calls from people I ain't heard from in a little minute. Just, just them checking up on me checking up on them. It makes me appreciate those things. It's making me appreciate the people who are in my life because they want to be there, not because I can send money, or not because I can do this and I can do that. It's just like, no, I'm just here because I want to be here. You are a good, solid friend. So it just made me appreciate the small things, man, that I just used to look over and that I used to just take for granted and think that they was going to always happen, and those things were always going to be there. So I'm really appreciative of certain things, man. And I and I know that I'm growing because certain things just don't matter to me the way they used to. One of those things is just like getting even, you know what I'm saying? I don't have, it's still in me now. I ain't gonna sit here and act like that energy of wanting to get back at somebody. I'm not gonna say act like that energy isn't there, but I can tell, I can feel it slowly starting to leave. And I'm just so thankful of where I am in life right now, man, because like I said, I'm just finding happiness in the small things and the little things that are going on in my life and the things that I'm going through, and I'm finding peace. And I'm, most importantly for me, especially right now, is that I'm finding patience. You know what I'm saying? I'm finding comfort in, that slow build, and because we get so used to the instant gratification that when it isn't happening, we get discouraged and we get disappointed. And so I'm learning how to find the beauty in that, in going through things and understanding that things aren't always going to happen the way I want them to. So, man, I'm in a good space mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. I'm just in a great space right now, and I'm thankful for it. Even with the videos and things, what I'm saying, they're not doing the numbers that I want, but I'm thankful for the place that I'm in right now. I got so many things to be thankful for, and I'm thankful for them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting here moping around because my podcast ain't doing what I would like it to do. My numbers ain't doing what I would like them to do. But you know what I'm saying? But despite all of that, I'm in a great space in life and I'm doing well for myself. And I see the people around me also doing well. So that just puts a big smile on my face and that brings me so much joy and that motivates me to get on here to keep doing these podcasts and to keep doing these videos and to keep spreading this message because I know that even if it's not doing the numbers, as long as it's touching somebody, it's reaching somebody, it's motivating somebody, then I'm doing my job. I'm living in my purpose. And I know I kind of got off on a little tangent right there. But to get back on topic, man, just start giving people space, giving your friends space, letting your friends be them because they're going to do what they want to do. They're going to make the decisions that they want to make. They're going to live the life that they want to live. And all you can do is just give them the space to do that. Be there to support them the best you can. And, you just got to kind of let them live their life. But you also got to give yourself space to not take on their burdens and to not drown, in their stress and in their sorrows and in their despair. You got to give yourself time to recharge and things like that. So the space is for both sides. It's not just for them, it's for you too, because especially if you're somebody who take on, like myself, who takes on other people's burdens when you get too close to it. You know what I'm saying? So, give yourself that space, give them that space to kind of live their life, give yourself that space to recharge because it's definitely needed. Ain't nothing wrong with telling your friends, hey, I just need time to recharge my battery. I need a day to myself. I need some me time. And you know what I'm saying? To take care of yourself and take care of your spirit and take care of your energy, take care of your peace, your happiness, all of that stuff. Just take care of you. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't do it, nobody else will. But y'all already know, man, I appreciate y'all for taking the time to listen to the podcast. For everybody listening on whatever platforms, I appreciate y'all. Please continue listening, leave a comment, let me know how I'm doing. And for anybody watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, share. Let's continue to grow all this year. And y'all have a blessed day.